I am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Inspire. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm glad that you are coming in on all the platforms that we are live on. If you just stumbled upon this broadcast, you all know who I am. I am your host, Sue A. Webley. I'm an author, producer, minister, and entrepreneur. And I believe in the power of words, wisdom, and witness. And that is exactly what Inspire is all about. So every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., we host space for honest and soulful and often transformative conversations with guests from all walks of life. You've been with me over the years. You know, we talk to everybody, okay? Entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders, organizers, and everyday people who are living boldly and authentically. We explore topics that matter, from mental health and identity to faith, business, justice, creativity, and healing. And so whether we are spotlighting a community leader or celebrating someone's personal triumphs, Inspire is rooted in the power of story and the belief that when we speak our truth, we light the way for others. I see you all coming in. Go ahead, do me a favor and shout just, hey, Chuck, thank you for joining us. Listen, if you've been in amount of time, you might sense that my energy is a little off. I'm under the weather, y'all, but I press my way, as they say in the church. I press my way so that we can have this conversation with our amazing guest. Thank you, Chuck, that we're going to speak with in a minute. But before I do that, I just want to invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. So if you've been following me on Cara Solutions LLC, thank you so much. I am building up the Inspire with CW platform. So for the time that we are on Facebook and Instagram, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to hang out here. You can follow me at Inspired with Sue W, or you can just head over to our website at www.getinspired.live to subscribe, to, see all of our previous episodes, learn more about the show, and stay connected with us, because we don't want you to miss a moment of what's coming up. Before I go any further, I got to shout out Anna Deshawn for Tell Your Story sweatshirt. Anna is a podcast aficionado. She's won awards and stuff all over the place, and she's also based in Chicago. So shout out. Hey, Anna, thank you again for my sweatshirt. If you have an item, a cup, or anything like that you want me to show on the show, I will purchase it. And listen, I believe in paying my people. I will purchase your item and still shout it out on the show. So thank you again, Anna, for this sweatshirt. Before we go any further, let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody on Instagram. Hey, Instagram folk, I see you. Good morning, Danny. Good morning. Let me know what you are, where you're watching from and what you're sipping on. Now, y'all know I'm a coffee girl, okay? I thank God for the coffee bean and gave man the intelligence to put hot water on the coffee bean and mix that thing with some sugar. Listen, I love coffee, but I'm sick, so I have tea. I have tea in my cup this morning, some ginger tea, some ginger tea, so I could get better. So I'm going to take a sip of my ginger tea. If you are so obliged, tell me where you're watching from and what you're sipping on. If it's water, if it's juice, if it's a smoothie, if it's coffee, if it's tea, if it's something stronger, I'm not judging you, but let me know what you're sipping on this morning as I take a sip of my tea. I'll be sipping that throughout the show so I can keep my voice. All right, so do me a favor and share as well, right? So share. I'm excited about our conversation today. Share with your family and friends. And tell them to come on and hang out and inspire with us. So we talk a lot on this show about inspiration, right? But really deep inspiration. We're not talking about fluffy surface inspiration. And so I'm interested in a kind of inspiration that comes from discipline, that comes from sacrifice, that comes from moments when you decide, I'm not going to live this way anymore. And we live in a culture that celebrates the highlight reel, right? We see the roles, we see the red carpets, the campaigns, the numbers on the screen, but what we don't always see is the inner work. The late nights, the healing, the choices to say no and yes might have been easier, and the quiet personal decisions that completely change the direction of someone's life. And so my guest today embodies that kind of inner work. He grew up in Chicago's West Side, a place just like any other city that carries both beauty and pain, both community and challenge. And from there, he built a life that now spans television, film, music, fashion. And you may know him from his work as Grace Cull in Power Book 5 Force, from appearances in projects like G-Rack and Chicago PD. I love the whole Chicago trilogy, or from hearing his music on the NBA 2K22 soundtrack. But today, we're going beyond those credits, right? What inspired me most about his journey and what I've researched and read about him is not just that he made it out and how he chose to live once he did. I am inspired by the fact that health has been central to his story, not as an aesthetic or a trend, but as a lifeline. He has spoken openly about being intentional with what he puts in his body, about fasting, about using discipline as a doorway to mental clarity. And leading up to season 2 of Power Force, he committed to a 70-day fast, including 40 days of just fruit. That level of focus, not everybody has. Right? It didn't just change his body, it transformed his mind and opened new doors for his career. He's also passionate about what it means for people who ain't got nothing, people in communities that don't always get access to certain sides of life, to understand that health, mindset, and discipline can be a form of power. He talks about stepping into your power, not tomorrow, but today. About not wasting one's life, the life that you have sitting. You won't stop sitting on the sidelines, right, of your own potential. And because it is Women's History Month, I got to ask a question about the women, right? So we're also going to talk about the women who poured into him, the voices and sentences that still echo in his head when he's on set, in the studio, or making big decisions. So this conversation, y'all, I see you commenting, is for anyone who has ever felt shaped by where they come from, for better or for worse. For anyone who has a creative dream but feels stuck between fear and responsibility. It's for anyone who knows that they're meant for more but keeps putting off the moment they really step into their power. And so my hope today, as you listen, those of you who are catching this live, those of you who catch us in the replay, my hope is that you don't just hear KI's story, that you hear your own invitation. An invitation to treat your health like a doorway, to treat your time like it matters, and to treat your purpose as non-negotiable. And we get ready to have him join us today. So as we prepare to meet KI, let's take a look at him talking about knowing who you are and how that connects you to the thing that you desire.
You gotta know. You gotta look in the mirror every single day when you wake up in the morning. You gotta know who you are and know what you want out of this life. Because if you don't, that's the first step to not achieving anything that you desire. I wake up every morning and I know what I've always wanted. I know what I've been working for the last 10 plus years. I know what I wanted when I was a kid. I know what I want tomorrow. I know what I want next week. I know what I want next month and next year. And as long as I know that, then I can have anything I want forever.
Good morning, Ki.
Good morning. Good morning. Doing research. Yeah, I like that. I was not expecting that.
And listen, I love that clip, and I always kind of research my guests before I have them on, and that clip really spoke to me, and I know it spoke to so many. Before we go into that, like what was the inspiration behind that particular clip?
I was actually, ironically, in an interview, and it wasn't a podcast, but it was an interview with United Masters, my distribution company for my music, and I had just landed a sync deal with NBA 2K for my music, and so I was doing an interview. We were doing a interview surrounding that deal. And so the question that was asked to me, I believe, was, you know, what do you want to leave your audience with? What do you want at the end of the interview? What do you want people to know before you depart? And that was my answer. Because that's just who I am, like that, and that's what I want to like pour into people, like know thyself, know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only way to properly move through this life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since from the time you're born, as you grow in the world, like the whole purpose of your parents molding you and shaping you and guiding you is so that you can, you know, have enough tools to discover yourself. So that's just a mantra, you know what I'm saying, that I always move with. You know what I mean? Anytime I'm feeling like I'm, you know, damn, what's going on? Why I don't feel like myself. You know what I'm saying? Know yourself. You can only not feel like yourself if you know yourself.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Self-awareness is really vital as we go throughout this life, right? It helps us make better decisions when we are self-aware, when we know ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. Before we go into our conversation today, what are you sipping on this morning, Ki?
So I got a couple things. I got these my electrolytes. You know, because I'm going to the gym as soon as we get done with this. And then I also have my sparkling water, my sparkling mineral water, Pellegrino. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna hide it at first because I ain't paying me for that, but it's okay.
Well, thank you for sharing what you're drinking. Let me just see before we get to a conversation. I see, hey, Keita, I was looking for you. Yes, absolutely love that clip. All right, so I want to start, Ki, beyond, you know, the titles and the credits, right? When you're not being Ki, the public figure, right? When you are in a room where no one knows, you step into a room, no one knows what you do, who are you in that moment?
You know, that's actually someone that I, you know, I'm always Ki, right? I would say that I'm, you know, that's where I become Will Nix, and that's my name that I was given, named after my father. But I'm always Ki, and I'm always Will Nix as well. You know what I'm saying? Ki is a name that I created for myself that wasn't necessarily based around what I do entertainment wise. It was a spiritual name that I came to. You know what I mean? So the beautiful thing about that name is, even though like I have a portion of it that's a public figure and it's dedicated to what I give the world, I also get to come back home and recharge within that same identity. You know what I mean? Because I'm able to separate. It doesn't cause me to get lost in it because I know where it came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I'm not being a public figure, and I'm just on my journey through life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm growing. I'm being a father. I'm being a teacher. You know what I'm saying? I'm being a brother, a son. You know what I mean? And that's actually the side of my life that I enjoy more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love all the entertainment stuff, but it's like, you can't be in that 100% of the time.
Right.
You gotta take time to recharge and
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so to be able to come back to the fold and be with you, because the world takes a lot of energy from you.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just that's how it gotta be. You know what I mean? The more people you expose to, the more people that are tapping into your energy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta make
Yeah.
sure you take
Yeah.
moments to you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
prepare for,
Yeah.
what's needed of you.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Hey, Butcher Bonnie, I see you. So you grew up. Thank you for sharing that, Ki. You grew up on the west side of Chicago, and a place like that in any other major city, right, can
Mhm.
really shape you in complex ways, right?
Absolutely.
So, can you share with us what's something you love about the west side that you didn't realize was special, and what's something you're still healing from, if any?
I love the confidence of the West Side. Like the West Side of Chicago, and I didn't realize it because it's like it's something you just in when you are saying, like, growing up, when I grew up, like it wasn't super social media and all of this, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just who I was around. Like and I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, I was a kid that was like more on the quieter side. Like I was in my head, like I was creating worlds in my head, like creating art. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't super, you know what I'm saying, just out there. So it's like the confidence that I saw from everyone around me. You know what I'm saying? I realized that that's not a normal thing. Like, because I promise you, you talk to anybody from the west side of Chicago, you gonna feel like they know they important.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of just ingrained in me into when I got older, people were telling me the same thing about myself. Like, you so confident. Like, it's like you just know who you are. You know yourself. It's like you don't question this and that. And I feel like the West Side of Chicago ingrained that in me. It's just the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how we and the West Side. Anybody who know about Chicago, the West Side is smaller than the South Side.
Yeah.
And so that, but the energy is still as big.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's something I wouldn't trade for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like we needed that, especially being a place that's so overlooked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you it's just the black community is disenfranchised and overlooked as it is.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the West Side gave me the ability to go into any room of any culture. It don't even got to be black people, and go around these corporate people, go around, and I still hold the same confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, that I learned when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the second part of your question, it was what I'm still healing from.
Yes.
Um, what I'm still healing from is, being coming from poverty, coming from a place of not having, you know what I'm saying? My parents did the best that they could, but it's like at the end of the day, this society was not set up for us.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents, they tried hard, but they didn't have the luxury of becoming rich and making sure that everything was set up for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that um I always told myself, like, by the time my children know what money is, I don't want them to have to worry about it. Like by the time they're able to feel what that actually means within the world, like you know what I'm saying? It's never something that has to matter to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I don't like about our community and how we treat like Black people that become successful in what they call nepo babies and things like
Yeah, nepotism.
yeah, the way we clown on people like Jaden Smith, Willow Smith, and you know, these different like celebrity children, like that's what we supposed to be striving for. Like all of us should want our children to, you know what I'm saying, be as free and free thinking and just to have the palate to do whatever they want. Like that's what we supposed to want. We look at that and we clown them like they don't know about no struggle. They don't know. I want Black people to separate themselves from the struggle because that's life. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm still healing from because even I deal with that. Sometimes I see somebody like, you don't know what it's like for real. You know what it's like for real. But that ain't, you know, that's not a bad thing. You're not supposed to know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? To struggle. You're supposed to have a life of ease. That's your birthright. That's what I wish for all of our people. So, you know, I'm still it's an everyday battle with that because that's so ingrained in me. It's so ingrained in our community. And that's something that you just gotta do as best as you can because we so close. We're so close to the struggle that it's like you got to work that out generation by generation. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, we're trying, you know what I'm saying? It's not our people. I don't want to make it seem like I'm blaming any of our people, but it's just being aware of, you know, the mentality behind put like highlighting struggle like it's something to be proud of, and it's not.
Ooh, I love it. Listen, that deserves an offering plate because baby, that was so good. That mindset, that criticism, it comes from someplace, right? It's not coming from. I think it comes more from a place where they can't see that for themselves, so they're going to speak out against it, right?
Yeah.
And I love what you said about us separating ourselves from struggle. Struggle going to be here, right? But I think we have to I think we do have to kind of separate ourselves enough to know that what success for you might not look like success for Will Smith and them may not be the success that you need, right? And part of struggle also helps us to tap into our creativity, you know, our calling, all of that. Part of struggle is part of that, even though we don't like the struggle, but struggle is part of that. Some of us get stuck in the struggle. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Some of us get stuck there. And so we have to do inner work, right? You got to do that inner work to get separated from that struggle so we can see bigger things for ourselves. So thank you so much for sharing that. If you just joined us, we are hanging out with the multi-hyphenate KI, and we're having a fabulous conversation. If you have a question or a comment for KI while we are sharing our time together today, please go ahead and post it in the chat. I'll be sure that he gets the opportunity to respond before we end our time together today. So let's talk a little bit about health, KI. You said that you really attribute your health to why you were able to make it as far as you have, right? Especially coming from a community that doesn't always get access, right, to certain sides of life. What do you wish? And I know you talked about what you wish more people in the Black community, right? What do you wish they also understand, not only about struggle, but about health as a key to access and opportunity?
So health, you know, I'm not one of those people who like subscribe to, oh, we get all our eating habits from slavery. First off, we weren't all slaves. All of our people don't come from slaves. That was a that was a small portion of the South of America, of the United States of America. That's why our people, you know what I'm saying, were escaping and going up north. Like it wasn't like across the whole US. So it's like we have different styles of eating, right? So that's one. I feel like now the American culture as a whole is unhealthy when it comes to food. And that's by design. So that's not just a black thing, but we don't have to feed into that. And we can make our recipes that we grew up on way healthier. You know what I mean? What our choice of food, what is it giving us long term besides high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer? Like nothing good is coming from this. The number one thing that I would like our community to realize is that your eating is attached to the state of your health. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't realize that. And they think because like my grandmother, she 94 years old. And like, well, this is what we grew up on and this, that, and the fourth. It's like that was a different time. It was like our grandparents and great grandparents were growing up on real food. And don't get it twisted, because when you get into the great grandparents and the great grandparents, a lot of them died early. You know what I mean? But you get those people in your family that made it to the 90s and you like, oh, well, they ate this and that. And so it's cool. But no, like my grandmother, she had like we could go down south and you know what I'm saying, sometimes we eat spam for breakfast, Vienna sausages, all that. But guess what? She had the full garden in the backyard. That's what she grew up on. So her body is more fortified to deal with the poison and the chemicals that they put in the food more than us. I was born in the 90s. So I'm the generation where McDonald's and all the fast food restaurants was normal. That's been breaking us down since we was kids. You don't have the same luxury to just eat whatever you want as our forefathers did. Man, they really had to they really had to go fishing, garden, do things. Like all of this access wasn't a thing. So it's like, man, the sugar is killing us. That's the main culprit. Sugar, inflammation. Sugar and inflammation. But if you can separate yourself from the sugar as much as you can, you can do natural sugars, fruits. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the type of sugar that's good for you. But all of this added sugar and this excess sugar, it's not. You go to Starbucks and you get a large drink, you almost drinking 100 grams of sugar off rip. You ain't even going through the day. That's just the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that type of stuff, it destroys your gut. It causes anxiety. That's why we're dealing with so many mental health issues in the community. It's sugar. So if you can do anything, like, it's not no overnight process, but it's like just be cognizant of the things that are destroying you. Sugar, high fructose, and then the different ways they name sugar to try to trick you. High fructose corn syrup. You know what I'm saying? Cane sugar is a more natural sugar, but it's still sugar.
It's still sugar.
Added sugar. So start to pay attention to start to read the labels, period. And once you read the labels, pay attention to that added sugar spot on them new nutrition labels.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So speaking about eating, you shared in another interview that you did a 70-day fast, right? Including 40 days of just fruit. And you said that it completely shifted your mind. So can you walk us through what was happening inside you during that time, mentally and spiritually, and how that discipline shows up in your work?
So at the beginning of that fast, man, it was hard as hell. I ain't even like that. It was killing me. But it's like it was something that I knew I had to do to grow and evolve to the next level. It would be days where, I gotta tap out early. I just gotta lay down. Any fast that you do, you going like within the first 3 days, you're gonna get a crazy headache. But if you can make it past that, you on the road to greatness and a lot of healing. So, for me, what kept me going was just the motivation to evolve. And it was like, where I was mentally, it's just, I was, realizing so many things about myself that some things I felt like I already knew and I was returning to. And also just different things that I was discovering, like ways I want to move through life, like things I want to be better in as far as, my character, how I deal with relationship with myself, you know what I'm saying? And so it destroyed all depression and anxiety that I had within myself. Completely. That's not something that I deal with at all. The depression and anxiety, like no, a little bit of anxiety is normal. Like if you gotta be somewhere and you running late, like you're gonna get a little anxious. You know what I'm saying? But that's normal. That's just a emotion. But anxiety, when you can't control panic and things, that's a different thing. And so it healed many of the ailments that I had. And when I did that fast, I had been fasting since 2016. Like, but I never did that long. So when I did that fast, that's when I came up with coming up with so many different blueprints of ways I'm gonna do things, because my mind was just so clear. You know what I'm saying? And my connection to the higher power was effortless. It's just there. It's no fog around it. You know what I'm saying? When you fasting like that, the communication is just there. So that's when I came up with the blueprint of like how I fast every quarter now, at the beginning of every quarter, and every April is when I do my longer fast, so to speak, than what I do throughout the year. And every other year is when I do a fast like that long, where it's like 7 days. This previous April, I did 90, which turned out to be 100 because I was feeling too good. And in that fast, I eliminated sugar, so I didn't even do fruit for 40 days. For the first days, it was strictly liquid. And so, yeah, that connection to the higher power, the ability I gained to completely manage my emotions. Like couldn't nobody get the best of my emotions, and I've always been a relatively calm dude, but it's like that emotional control is like, like when you in control of your emotions.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, we are gonna take a quick break again. You all, if you have a question or a comment for KI, please post it, and we're gonna do some housekeeping and get back into some more conversation with KI. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. I invite you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Listen, we're having an amazing conversation this morning, and I'm glad that you're here to experience it. Connect, follow, like, and subscribe. We don't want you to miss anything that's happening with Inspire, so I'm going to invite you to head over to our website. There you can watch all of our previous episodes. You can find out a little bit more about the show, but you could also subscribe to our newsletter, right, so that you don't miss anything. Also, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram for the time that we are here, okay? We're going to move to another platform, but for the time that we are here, connect with us on Inspire with Sue W. If you or someone you know is on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same, we want to hear from you. I want to hang out with you in this virtual space on a future episode of Inspire. And so you can visit us again on our website at www.getinspired.live to book your appearance today. Go to our website, click Be Our Guest, and you can fill out that intake form, and a member of our team will be back. We'll get in touch with you so that you can schedule your time to be with me on Inspire. Those are Camera Solutions, helping you navigate the digital space with confidence. We are a full-service digital agency specializing in helping our clients achieve their goals through consultation and training, content and social media management, graphic and web design, live stream, and podcast production. If you want to learn more, you can schedule a consultation by visiting our website at www.cara-solutions.com or email us at info@cara-solutions.com. And we will always, always, always share this every time that we are live. So our sibling in community needs a kidney. She has been searching for a kidney donor. She's in search of her name is Yanni. If some of you might know her already as the peace pastor, Pastor Yanni, Reverend Yanni, the poet Yanni, however you know her, or if you're just meeting her, she needs a kidney. So she's in search of potential donors who are fairly healthy, have the blood types A or O, and the courage to commit to surgery and help save her life. And she'd love to share the safety measures with you. Alternatively, if you know of a resource or organization somewhere that she can get connected to that can help her, please let us know. Please send that information to us at Inspire, and we'll be sure to get it to her. If you want to reach out to Yanni and her family directly, you can do so at peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. That's peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. Or you can head over to emerylivingdonor.org and fill out the survey. Enter her name, which is Ayana Davis. I believe that we can do this in community, y'all. I believe that we can do this in community. So let's get back to some more conversation with KI. Thank you for joining us again, KI. It's just been such a wonderful conversation so far. And I'm grateful that you're taking the time out to to share with us today and sharing, dropping some jewels and dropping some, some wisdom. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about your decision to kind of bet on yourself. Mm-hmm. Can you take me back to the exact moment you decided I'm going to go all in on this creative life, right? So where were you? What did you tell yourself? And if you hadn't gone all in that day, what do you think you'd be right now? Where do you think you'd be right now?
So I was 15. I was 15 years old. And, by that time, I had been going to the studio. I had been recording in the studio a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so it was when I saw people were having a positive reaction to my music, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Because I already wanted to do it prior to that, but I'm a kid. I didn't know that was a possible thing. And I'm a kid in Chicago. Like we don't have the same opportunities that, places like LA and New York, had at that time. So it's like wanting to be something in Chicago was one thing, but I ain't had no connections to that. So when I saw that people were liking what I was doing musically, that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. if I hadn't, what was that second part? If I hadn't,
Yeah, if you hadn't said like this is what I'm going to do, where do you think you'd be right now?
Where would I be? If I, man, it's very hard to kind of like put a gauge on that because I've been doing this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at 15 years old, you don't really got no other leads. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what would happen, but based on my interests, I guess I would probably be somewhere in um the health field or the financial field. Um, you know, and when I say health, I don't mean like hospitals and Western medicine thing. I mean like natural healing modalities and things
Yeah.
like I probably would have at some point shifted my attention all that because I'm thinking about what I do outside of entertainment and those are the things that I gravitated towards health and finance, like stocks and crypto and all of that. So I probably would've did something with you know, and I always just money. I always like when I was a kid, like my older sister used to borrow money from me. She ain't never had no money. She used to borrow my money. She was the one that was have it. And my mother always told me like, I know you're gonna get some money because you just too good with it. Like she used to tell me I was better with money than her as a child. I was in middle school. So yeah, I probably would have ended up somewhere in those.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, Akita, I see your question. I'm going to make sure KI gets to respond to that before we end today. So, in entertainment, there's a lot of pressure to kind of fit a certain image, right? And to also take opportunities just because they're in front of you. So, what's an opportunity you turned down because it didn't align with who you are? And how did it feel to say no to the opportunity?
Opportunity that I've said no to. There's been things that I've said no to, like as far as music, doing people's music videos and certain that's probably the main thing. Because a lot of times people want to use me in a way like for their music videos that I'm just not rocking with. I haven't had any roles that so like with the role, it doesn't make it that far for me to decline because I just won't do the audition.
Oh, okay.
If I don't like what it's looking like, I just won't do it. So there have been my nose, like my hard nose for acting roles are pedophilia, rape, and homosexuality. I won't do any of those. And I'm really on the fence also about like certain sex scenes and how like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because those are just the ones that don't resonate with me. You know what I mean? It's no, because a lot of people like to say, oh, it's just acting. Well, it's like, no, because like imagine me in a scene with a child and I'm supposed to be a pedophile. There has to be some element of realness. You want me to touch this child? You want me to do that? Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So luckily, I have not come across any of these situations yet, but I already know how I'm gonna handle them if that do, you know what I mean, pass my desk. Now the homosexuality, I have gotten auditions for that, and I just won't do them. But yeah, these are just things that don't resonate because when you're acting, you have to be, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's finding what part of yourself, it's not pretending, it's turning the character into you, not you turning into the character. So
Mhm.
you have to find these pieces, you have to find that character within yourself. And if I don't have that character in me, I can't bring it out. And it's I if I was to try to force it, it would be terrible. You
Mhm.
know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So yeah, that's just how I view it. Um yeah, music, nothing major. It's just like certain shows they want you to do certain things. I'm just like, not
Mhm.
good. It's not worth my time. It's not worth me coming out for that. You
Yeah.
know. But I ain't had to deal with no casting couch. you know.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. So it is Women's History Month, right? And many of us are who we are because of the women in our lives, because of the women who are reported into us, and even because of women that may have harmed us, right? So, who are the women who have most shaped your journey? And is there something? Is there a sentence? Is there a quote um, from one of those women that kind of still plays in your head while you're on set or while you're in the studio?
Mm, well, my mother, of course. Um, my mother, my grandmother, my sister. Um, um, they all played definitely a pivotal role in me understanding that I can do this. Like my sister used to, make me sing after school. My mother has always been just supportive in everything that I do entertainment wise. She never made me feel like, oh, you need to be doing something else or you're never gonna achieve. Like it was support from the day I decided what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And she used to take me to the studio and high school and all of that and just I set up my first little home studio at my sister's house. Um, so I've always had that environment that was kind of curated for, and then my grandmother just instilling like discipline and respect and just handling myself properly,
Mhm.
handling myself respectfully, having a sense of shame when I'm moving in a way that I shouldn't be moving, which I
Mhm.
feel like we need a lot more of today. Um, you know, um, and also my manager Snow, one of my best friends as well. She's you know we've been on this journey together. You know what I'm saying? Doing this entertainment thing. Uh, and we've been in the trenches for real, trying to make it off the ground for a long time. And
Mhm.
she's played a great role in what I'm saying, what we've done. Um, and as far as quotes, huh, I don't know. That's a good. I would have to sit and think about that. I don't know.
Okay.
None that come to mind right off the top of my head.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, I think the way that you explain it though, it gives gives us what we need in terms of how these women have shaped you, right? And the influence and the impact that they've had on your life. So shout out to all the women.
then
um,
shout
yeah.
out to my aunties and my cousins too, because I have a lot of them. Like
Mhm.
I come from like my mother's family is predominantly women, and my father's family is predominantly women. So we've just always, like, I grew up with the knowing from a very young age of how
Mhm.
to treat women and how to respect women. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of what was around me. You know what I mean? And they they deserved their respect. It wasn't like they handled themselves in a way that you have to respect. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, yeah. And actually, my mother is coming to me now. She's always told me my entire life, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Mhm.
And if and if you that, and now you got me thinking, literally picture her way. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say that shit at all.
Some words of wisdom from Mama. Thank you for sharing. We're wrapping up our time, but I have one more question for you, but I want to make sure that you get to Keita's question. So Keita says, if you can use one word to best describe your journey, what would it be?
Ordained.
Mm,
Uh,
that's a good word.
That's the word I would use.
That's a good word. Dang, that's powerful. So our last question for today. You said if you have something you're passionate about, you only got one life to live. What are you sitting on your ass for, right? So for someone watching right now who has a creative dream, but is scared or stuck or doubting themselves, what does stepping into your power actually look like? And before they go to bed tonight, what is one concrete thing that they can do um, to set them on the path to stepping into their power?
Mm. What it looks like stepping into your power is, first you have to understand, you have to sit with yourself. You have to sit with yourself and like drown out all the noise so that you can focus and understand what it is that even is your power.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people, and even remembering, when I was younger, like we let all the distractions, and we fill ourselves with, we try to fill the blanks of our time. Everybody's so scared of being bored, but
mm,
bored is where you find who you are. Like, you got to cut out all the stimulation, cut out all the distraction, and just focus and ask yourself these questions. Who am I? What do I want?
mm,
How do I get, if that's what I want, how do I get there? Okay, what tools do I need to get there? What
mhm,
does that look like? What do I need to start doing tomorrow? Like, it all starts with questions that you ask yourself. That's how you step into your power. You know what I mean? And you gotta just keep ask yourself question after question until you run out, until you don't until you don't know what else to ask yourself. But don't if you don't know what to ask yourself after three questions, your ass need to keep going. You ain't
mhm,
you know what I'm saying? Ask yourself at least 10 solid questions
mm,
around
mhm,
what it is you think you may want out of life, what you're good at, what people have told you you're good at, what people have recognized you for. Um, does what people recognize you for align with what you want for yourself?
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Or have you been performing?
mm,
Because if you've been performing for other people to recognize, then that ain't, you gonna spend your whole life performing. That ain't what you really
mm,
want. That's not what's really for you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So stepping into your power starts with questions and decisions. Um, Something you could do tonight is Exactly what I told you. Ask yourself those questions. You know what I'm saying? Meditate, focus.
Mhm.
And just try to put that phone on D&D, close your eyes and think and talk to yourself. Uh, um, you know, talk to yourself, talk to God, um, and just discover who you are. Your purpose, once you really think about it, it's your purpose is always something you can trace back to your childhood.
Mhm.
Um, it's because it's who you always were. We get away from it because of all the stuff that's going on in life. But if you can sit and really reflect over your life, your purpose is something that you should always be able to trace back to your childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for those words of wisdom. Where can the people find you, Ki?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at KAYEYE3RD. YouTube, KI, Apple Music, Spotify, all streaming platforms, KI. Um, and yeah, I'm here. I'm outside. I'm on TV. You find me on Amazon, Apple TV, Stars, with Power Force. New movie came out, Moses the Black with Omar Epps. Starring Omar Epps and Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, Power Book 4 Forces on Stars, Chicago PD. Yeah, I'm outside, and we got more stuff coming.
Good, good, good. And we will be here to support you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, not just your accomplishments, but your process, right? You
Mm.
shared the discipline, the healing, the faith, and the women who poured into you, and the choices that you continue to make to protect who you're still becoming. And
Mm.
so we are so grateful that you have shared that with us today. And for everybody watching, those of you who are watching now, those of you who catch this in the replay, I hope you heard more than a story, right? I hope you heard that invitation that I talked about earlier. The invitation to treat your health as a doorway, your time is sacred, and your purpose is worth fighting for. You only get one life. And as Kay reminded us, the question is, what are you going to do with it today? What are you going to do with it before you go to bed tonight? So if this conversation spoke to you, please share it. Please share with a friend, with a member of your family. Share it with someone who needs a push, a reminder, a little permission to step into their power. I'm Sue A. Webley. I'm your host, and this has been Inspire. Until next time, I want you to stay lifted. I want you to stay motivated, but most of all, I want you to stay inspired. We'll see you again next week.